Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're back with another BKFC Reddit Ask Me Anything. We're joined by the main man for the upcoming Omaha main event, Dakota Cochrane. How you doing, sir?
Good, good. Thanks for having me on.
All right. So you're a Nebraska guy, but I see is that an Iowa? What's going on?
Yeah, so I lived in Nebraska for a lot of years. Still a Husker fan, football wise, but Iowa wrestling. We moved to Iowa probably 7, 8 years ago. So then my boys are kind of in the wrestling, so we kind of became Iowa wrestling fans.
Okay, so what without I guess giving away your hometown, what part of Iowa are you still pretty close to Omaha? Like, is it still that's still considered a hometown fight for you though, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're like 40 minutes away from Omaha, like the
Okay,
venue. So yeah.
perfect. So, I mean, we've talked to Jeremy Stevens. He said it's super important for him to get an Iowa card. Are you pushing for an Iowa card too, or like you're happy with the Nebraska cards?
I'm happy to fight anywhere. I just love fighting, competing. So yeah, you name the place, I'm down.
Okay, it was kind of interesting. I posted your picture and Marcus's picture, and one of the top five guys, Mr. Donald Sanchez, said he sees you winning this fight and he plans on fighting you at some point. So, what are your thoughts on Donald? I mean, he thinks you're going to win. Clearly, you think you're going to win also.
Yeah, no, I'll take that. I'll take any opinions, but really nothing matters until fight night. So we figure out who actually is gonna win. So you everybody can predict, but it's hard to know for sure, and that's why you fight the fight so that you can find out.
So you're number one, but I mean, clearly you don't want to, like, Donald Sanchez is not the champion. You're number one. You want the title shot next. Have you talked to Dave and those guys and said, I'm number one. If I win this, is the belt next for me?
Yeah, no, I'm that's me fighting Marcus was basically them telling me I'll get a shot after this if I win against Marcus because Marcus we fought a long time ago in MMA and I actually when he started doing bare knuckle I cheered for him. I messaged him and I said, hey man, good luck, keep kicking ass and great job, good to see you like fighting again. So I'm always cheering for good guys and he's been one of those guys. So I didn't really want to fight him just because have a history with him, but it's one thing you got to do to get to the champ.
It's interesting. So again, I talked to Marcus last night. He had nothing but great things to say to you. He did say, "Look, we fought before. I plan on winning again because I don't want a rubber match." He said you guys are friends. He said when he had his surgery, you were one of the few guys who reached out to him, and he felt that you guys are friends. But this is just business. What's it like fighting your friends though? Like, it's got to suck. Like, is there any hesitation, or you're not going to hesitate at all, and you'll smoke Marcus in the face?
Yeah, no, it does suck. Yeah, and I consider him a friend too. So um, it's not fun, but in the ring, it's just business. So you gotta go out and you gotta fight and you gotta win no matter what. So it doesn't matter who is in front of you. I think I can't remember who said it, but you're just another blank face like in the ring.
Why take a risk against fighting Marcus, who's not ranked? I mean, you have Zeb on the card. Like, was there any talks of giving you another ranked guy, or you just wanted to be active, so you took a fight?
I think Marcus is gonna be fighting for the championship, or if I'm not fighting for it, I would like to see him fighting for it. So I guess that's really go to. Like I really think he is one of the best in the world in bare knuckle. So that's kind of where I'm at.
He looks a lot scarier now that he's healthy and he has the new hip. You know what I mean? Like, but he's also a wild, unpredictable guy. You're cool, calm in there. You have all the experience. Like, do you feel like that's where you pull this out? Is he is a wild guy and he does get emotional, and like I said, you're always cool and calm.
No, I think I think he's very explosive. I think we're very similar in the fact of he's explosive and does some interesting stuff to try to get the W. Like and really we both fight just trying to get the W. So I think we're very similar height wise, power wise, speed wise. So I think it's a fun fight for the fans.
Awesome. Well, I got some questions here from the Reddit. The first one is, and I know you can't give away too much. She says, "What's your game plan against Marcus Edwards?" And I heard you guys are fighting and running this back for the second time. Can you tell us about your first time fighting MMA? And we know MMA is not bare knuckle. So I mean, was it close fight? Like, what happened?
No, it was no, he beat me basically. So he choked me out. So obviously it's a completely different sport.
Sure.
So my goal is to get him back in bare knuckle, and then we'll be 1-1 and we'll be happy. So it's a completely different sport. So you really can't compare apples to apples.
Can you talk about game plans though? So like I was just over in Dubai and I talking to fighters, and a couple of the fighters were like, "This is my game plan," and in their fight, their opponent stifled their game plan and they had nothing for it. Do you have multiple game plans, or like are you that confident?
No, that's where experience comes in play. You know, my last opponent, he tried switching it up, southpaw or orthodox, and it's I've been in the game a long time, so it's really hard to rattle me. Yes, of course, I have to come in with a game plan, but your game plans always change, so you got to be willing to adapt and trying to find a new way to get the W.
You're a guy who's only lost to some of the best of the best. So like I mean, like I said, it's clear that you are the number one guy. What's it like being able to have BKFC build a card around you? Because clearly, I think a lot of people thought like, oh, they'll do Houston, but they didn't. They went with you. They said we want you to be the nucleus for this upcoming card. How does that feel?
No, it feels good. I feel like I'm one of the beginning people of bare knuckle, and it's fun to keep being able to keep winning and keep Omaha and Nebraska and Iowa like keep us alive in the bare knuckle race. It's so yeah, it's very cool, very fun, and I try to be a good person, a good just come in fight and I don't like any crazy tactics or anything like that. But like I said, I just like to fight. I like to compete. So ready to go.
Okay, my graphics guy just jumped in here. You're one of his favorite guys. So he like it's funny, like I was reaching out to fighters and he's like, you've got to interview Dakota. It's so important that you interview Dakota for me. So I'm glad we were able to get you on.
Hell yeah, appreciate it, man.
Okay, so again, do you are you for sure that you get the title shot? We saw Brandon Allen was the number one ranked guy for almost 2 years, basically, and BKFC kind of kept passing him by. Like, is there any concern about that? Or like I said, I mean, it's unfortunate when you are the number one guy, but maybe the champ doesn't want to fight you.
Yeah, no, I've talked to Mundell. He said he'd be down to fight me anytime. And I know things change. Like you said, I'm not a beginner in this game, so I know things can always change. But yeah, as far as I know right now, if I get the W with Marcus, then I'll be fighting for the title.
Okay, so I'm kind of curious, like, what's your walk around weight? I talked to Marcus yesterday. He said he's 230 and cutting down. I talked to Mundell before. He's 210 and cuts down to 170. What do you like to walk around? Are you a big guy like that, or you prefer to fight closer to your weight?
No, I'm about 195 and fat, so like no, I stay at 195 or maybe a little bit above, but no, that's plenty of cut for me. I'm an old man, so I don't want to be cutting that much. That's already plenty for me.
It is kind of crazy to see, like, I talked to him yesterday and he's like, I'm in weight cut mode, my brain's kind of scrambled. I love that you can talk, like I'm sure you're still granted you're cutting weight, but you can still eat and all that. What's it like not having to kill yourself to make the weight cut?
I mean, as far as I know, it's still killing myself. So, no, I just have never had to do that much of a cut. Even I stay pretty in shape all the time. So, I couldn't imagine going from 230. That would be absolutely terrible. I feel like I would be slow, super slow, because I always try to gain 15 pounds back after weigh-ins. It seems like if I go a lot more than that, then I tend to get a little slower. So I like to about 15 pounds or so after weigh-ins.
So I like you, but I got a little bit of gripe with you because I'm a huge Chris Lieben fan, and you absolutely demolished one of my idols. What's it like beating a legend from UFC? Like it had to been. Is that one of your career highlights, or do you just keep building on those?
No, it's definitely a highlight, but yeah, I hope to continue building my highlight reel. Yeah, no, it was crazy how it happened. I took it like on a week and a half notice, and he was like cutting down the weight, and I was like trying to gain a little weight so I could get to him, get to the same weight for weigh-ins. So it was a crazy, interesting deal, and I'm just glad I was a little bit faster than him because he hits fucking hard.
Okay, so this person submitted it on the Reddit, and I don't know exactly what it means, but I'll read it. You've come a long way. Keep it up. UNK was packed with athletes back in the day. I don't know what UNK is. What is that?
Yeah, UNK is where we went to college, so University of Nebraska at Kearney.
Okay.
So the D2 school, yeah, I was a track athlete there, and yeah, we have like Usman, Joe Ellenberger is actually the one that got me into fighting, him and his brother Jake, and so yeah, there was quite a few athletes from UNK, and there's some badass wrestlers. UNK always has a great wrestling school, so yeah, it's pretty cool to come from such a small town and show up a little bit.
Let me ask you this. You're very successful. Are you kind of like, I know Omaha and probably where you live now aren't the biggest areas. Are you kind of a big fish in the small pond? Do you get recognized a lot? Like, are you famous?
It's funny when you're with your kids all the time, and I think remember one time they asked me, "Dad, are you kind of famous?" Like, no, buddy, no, no, don't worry about that. No, it's just yeah, you're very well known in the area. I've been in the fight game a lot, so it's a small community. It's cool to be recognized, but in the end, you just want to be a good person, a good dad, and do the right things.
It does have to be kind of cool though. You're driving by and you see a billboard and your picture's on it. Your kids are with you, and or your kids drive by it with their friends and they're like, "That's my dad," you know.
Yeah, no, it's cool, but it's also a great way to for them to see you compete, how you react when you win, you lose. Like be an example in that aspect. I really enjoy that.
Okay, so you are a father, and a lot of people want their kids to follow in their steps. But I talk to a lot of fathers, and a lot of athletes who are fighters, and they don't want their kids. Are you a guy who your kids can pick what they want, or would you prefer they use their brains over their hands?
Yeah, I mean, brains over hands is always good, but sometimes you just got to go with what you're blessed with, what you're talented with. So, no, I'm okay with whatever they want to do. I just always tell them, like, whatever you're doing, I want to make sure you try your hardest and do the best you can at it. And then I'll always be proud. So, like, whether it's wrestling, football, baseball, track, or whatever it is, I just want them to go out and try their hardest, and I'll always be proud.
Are you one of those fighters who's able to make enough off of sponsors and fighting to support yourself full time, or are you guy that has a job?
No, I have a deck business that I run with a buddy of mine that we've been friends with since fourth grade. So no, we run a pretty successful business, and yeah, it's hard to try to find time to train and all that stuff. But no, I'm not blessed with that. But it's it's a crazy life. But yeah, you gotta go with it.
It is fortunate though. It sounds like you're kind of your own boss, so you can kind of like, hey, I have a fight coming up. I'm going to take off. Versus some of these guys, and it's a struggle, and they have to ask permission. Like I talked to somebody, and he's like, "Oh, I was supposed to fight on the Omaha card, but my boss wouldn't give me permission." And it's so unfortunate that people like. I mean, fighters have a short shelf life, and for somebody to be like, "You can't fight because I need you at work," sucks.
Yeah, you just got to go through the main boss, which is the wife. Got to make sure she's okay with it. And this one, she took she was she let me take it in the fact that we had Easter plans, so but this kind of popped up in the middle of nowhere. But because my last fight, they had no plans to come to Omaha, so it was kind of a surprise when they
Sure.
announced they're coming to Omaha. So yeah, I kind of threw a loop in our plans, but you like I said, you have to adapt.
Okay, I talked to quite a few fighters, and their wife is like basically. I mean, they have managers, but their wife, like a lot of times, like if I talk to Dustin Pegg, I go through his wife. Hey, can you schedule me in? Does your wife handle all that, or like is she more like the family and stuff, and you take out all your fighting yourself?
No, she handles the family and the food. So she makes sure that I'm getting down to weight, and she really takes care of the family, so I don't have to worry about that. That's a big weight off my shoulders. And also she helps with tickets too. Like anytime you fight at home, you have to sell tickets.
Sure.
So that's always a pain in the ass. So she helps me a lot with that.
Let me ask you about tickets. Like it's weird because like the dudes in Miami, they love selling tickets and it's important to be the cash cow. But for a lot of you fighters, it's weird because you see like something like UFC and they don't have to push tickets, or boxing and they don't have to push tickets. But BKFC really wants you guys to push tickets. And I get like it's another way for you guys to earn an extra income. But do you feel like the stress of selling tickets and pushing this fight should be on you guys?
It's one of those, you got to kind of help the promotion, I guess. I think that's it's kind of our duty, in a newer sport, newer promotion, like it, trying to help build that promotion and make it more successful. So eventually, the fighters don't have to worry about selling tickets. But like I said, I'm a realist. I understand in the beginning, you have to help sell,
Sure.
just like they have to help promote. So um, it's not a fun part, but yeah, it's just part of it. And if you fight locally in any other promotion other than UFC, you're gonna have to sell tickets. So it's just it's part of the game.
Okay. This question's a little bit longer. I'll read it all for you real quick. It says, "How has your training changed from crossing over to MMA to BKFC? Obviously, foregoing the grappling, but how has sparring changed? Physical conditioning to quicker or faster paced rounds, conditioning to fighting in only wraps, etc."
Yeah, no, I feel like it's way easier to train for bare knuckle because it's just boxing compared to MMA. But the fights are a little bit tougher on your body. But yeah, as far as like in college, I was a track athlete, like I said. I did short sprints and pole vault. So like those are like the shorter rounds are the ones I absolutely love because it's more like a sprint. So you just got to get your body into that sprint mode, learn how to recover quick. Um, yeah, so the faster you can recover, we have a minute to recover. So you train for 30 seconds. So your body gets used to recovering quicker. I'd say that's probably one of the best things you can do is train your body to recover very quickly after an intense round.
Any injuries with bare knuckle other than maybe like a cut or anything?
I've been very lucky. I had one cut from leaving, and then like I said, I've been pretty lucky. Just my thumbs, like my thumbs, kind of get. I've had dislocated, um, so that's the only issue, I guess. Other than that, no, I'm pretty healthy.
Are you a guy who has to condition his hands, or your hands are just naturally tough?
I They're in MMA. I broke my right hand, so it healed up super tough. It's like a little brick. My left hand, that one is a little bit more brittle, so I do have to condition a little bit. But yeah, I'm pretty naturally gifted with the hands because as soon as I started MMA, I never wrapped my hands. Like I had them in boxing gloves. When you're hitting the bag, sparring, stuff like that. I never
Okay.
wrapped. More so out of ignorance. I didn't know I was supposed to. And then it was like a year and a half, and my coach was like, "Oh, why aren't your hands wrapped?" I'm like, "I didn't know I was supposed to." So he's like, "Well, if it doesn't bother you now, just don't do it." So that's helped me without even trying.
Okay, you've been in there with some really, like some of the best. Who was your toughest fighter slash who hit the hardest of your fighters?
Uh, Man, that's tough. As far as hitting me and like feeling the power, I would say Lieben. He hit real hard. But hitting me and not feeling the power, but obviously knocked me senseless was Richmond. So that's he definitely hits hard. So I would say those two definitely hit the hardest.
Is that Richmond fight one that you'd like to run back, or like you're content with staying at 75?
No, I would love to run that one back just because he caught me right away, and then I wasn't able to recover after, and so I took a lot of damage that if I was all there, then I would have been a lot. I would have been able to defend a lot more and be a better fight for him. So yeah, of course, any loss I take, I would love to get a run back. So because I don't lose that often. I haven't lost too much. So yeah, any loss, I would love to have a run back.
You're a very likable guy. You don't post a ton on social media. As you see, like people like Dave Mundell start to succeeding more and posting more videos, do you see that as the necessary evil? And if you do want to pursue for that belt, you're going to have to start doing that, or are you are who you are? Like you said, you're an old guy, and you're not going to like new tricks.
Yeah, no, I know it would be beneficial, but I just do not enjoy that process. I have a great life, and it's I don't feel like I need to post everything on social media. I know it would bring more fans and more people to and also more haters. So I just have a good life, and there's no really reason to disrupt it. And if I keep beating everybody in front of me, then I'm gonna be forced to be the champ at some point.
Okay, and then my last question I always ask people the first time I interview them: do you remember the first time you got in a street fight, or the first time you punched somebody out of anger? Usually in elementary school, but some of you guys like, so I've talked to fighters who've never punched somebody out of anger, and the first time they hit somebody was in a boxing gym. So, like, were you a guy who fought a lot when you were younger, or?
No, I've only been in one street fight, honestly, and that was because he hit me first, and then I finished it. My mom always told me you better not start a fucking fight, but if you get in one, you better finish it. That's what my mom always told me.
At what point was that though? I mean, was it when you were younger, or?
Yeah, I was probably junior in high school when
Okay.
I actually threw my first punch and got my fight. So yeah, I didn't get in a fights anytime after that until I started in a gym, like you said.
Yep. Okay. Is there any messages or sponsors or anything you'd like to get out before we call it an afternoon?
Yeah, I would like to thank um, my manager, Storm Management, and then um, obviously my family, friends, everybody in Omaha. That's the biggest thing. Omaha, Glenwood. That there's a small community in Glenwood, so we have a lot of people who support, whether watching or going to it. So I just appreciate everybody that supports me and uh, watches me kick some ass.
All right. Well, again, like I know fighters hate to say like if you win, but when you win, I look forward to talking to you again, and hopefully we're talking about you fighting for the belt. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, sounds good. I appreciate it, man. Look forward to it.
All right, man. Have a great afternoon. Thanks so much for your time.
You too. Appreciate it.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.